What I would ask everybody to do is if you have access to the chat and are not calling in by phone, if you can go to the chat and please type your name and your title as well as your agency. This is our way that we'll use to keep a registration list of everybody who's attended. We also have on the call today a lot of our DHS and Metro Health staff. I'm going to be sharing a slideshow here in just a moment as we walk through this first technical assistance workshop. Let me bring this up. Now, for anyone who needs closed captioning or would simply like to use it, if you go to the lower left-hand side of your screen, you can turn on closed captioning. We do make that available for anyone who needs to or just prefers to use it. Actually, let me see one more thing. All right. Katie, can y'all see the screen? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We have muted everybody to go through the workshop. At the conclusion of the workshop, we will be opening up the time for anybody to have questions that we are happy to answer for you. We'll also be monitoring the chat. Excuse me. So if anybody has a question that they'd like to post in the chat, please feel free to do so. We will be monitoring that. And if we do not answer it by the time we get to the Q&A session, we will definitely go through those so that we can get all of your questions answered. First off, I do want to say to everyone, congratulations on getting your proposal funded. This RFP process was an extremely competitive one, and we are really looking forward to working with all of our new agencies. You will notice on this call that we have staff from both the Department of Human Services and the Department of Metro Health. I'd like to introduce Ashley Stubing, who is the project manager for the Department of Metro Health. She will be also contributing to this workshop today. As the contracts that we are going to walk you through, the contract execution process will be for programs both with the Department of Human Services and with the Department of Metro Health. To get us started, everybody should see the screen. We're going to go over today's workshop being solely focused on the execution process. We really want to make sure that we have, for the majority of you who are new agencies, that you understand the process that you're about to go through, and that we can hopefully just give you a little bit more insight into the steps and why we're asking for the documents we're asking for. So first off, we have the welcome. Y'all have already been putting your name and your agency in the WebEx chat. One of the reasons why we do the Technical Assistance Workshop Series is because the Department of Human Services and Metro Health Contracts divisions are really focused on communicating new processes and developing relationships with our agencies. For the next 2 years, we're going to be your partners, and we're excited to do that. We're going to come alongside you as you work to serve the community of San Antonio, and our mission, our objective, is to make sure that the process of having a contract with a city is both understandable and that you know who you can contact if you have a question. Nothing should really catch you as a surprise through the process if we are communicating well with you. So that's really why we do these workshop series, so that we can just get to know you and kind of share the city processes. So today we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to go over the contract execution process. We're going to talk to you about what negotiation meetings are. We're going to walk you through getting registered for Smartsheet Access. We're going to give you an overview of what your online dashboards are going to look like for the ARPA contracts. We're going to give you a live demo of how it is to submit a document. And then, of course, we want to talk to you about some partner resources that are always available for you. So the contract execution process. This process has started as of last week. This slide is kind of an overview of what that execution process looks like. The Contracts Management Division for DHS, as well as the Contracts Division for Metro Health, started issuing contract packets to the point of contacts that were listed in the RFP the week of February 6th for DHS. That's when we started getting them out. And then Metro Health actually issued them on February 2nd. Those packets include a checklist of all the documents that are required for us to get the contract executed. The way that the city works with contract execution is we have to collect the documents somewhat piecemeal. So we break them up into basically each document we need, and we send that to you. You're going to get it in probably 2 different emails. All of you should have already received the first email, which included a checklist. Let me show this. For the Department of Human Services, it included a checklist that looked like this, right? This checklist has a very detailed outline of all of the documents that we are going to have to collect at some point over the next 4 to 6 weeks as we work to get your contract executed by March 30th. Your packet also would have included a couple of the templates. You would have received the scope of work template, the program line item budget template. You would have received the certification of debarment template. There should have been a total of 6 documents in that packet. Now, all documents for your contract, we are asking that they be submitted no later than February 24th, and that's for the Department of Human Services. Ashley, does Metro Health have a different timeline for that?
We're asking the same timeline.
Okay. And the way your documents are submitted are through our online SmartSheet contract monitoring system. And we're going to walk you through what that looks like and how to use that today. Now, once all of the documents are approved, the departments, both DHS and Metro Health, will assemble all of the contract attachments into a single document, which then our city attorney and our individual department directors will review and sign. Once our directors for each department sign those contracts, they are considered executed contracts because y'all will sign them when we send you the contract at the very beginning. We ask agencies to sign that first and then send that to us, and we route it for the final signatures we need on our side. A copy of the fully executed contract will be provided to the agency by their contract monitor and coordinator. And that's one thing I wanted to do and I forgot to do in the welcome. I'd like everybody who's on the call from the Department of Human Services and from the Metro Health to wave if you are a contract monitor or coordinator so that our new agencies can see who they're going to be working with. Each of you, each of our agencies who are getting a contract, you will have a contract monitor or coordinator assigned to your program. It is program specific. We do try to keep the coordinator or the monitor who's assigned to your programs. For example, if you're an agency that got funded for 2 programs, we will try to give you the same monitor or coordinator to manage both of those programs because we find it's much easier. The only time we don't do that is if we are absolutely pushed to the limit at the workload balance. So the last notice that you'll see on this execution process are the negotiation meetings. Those negotiation meetings are related to the performance scorecard. This is an attachment in your contract, and those will be scheduled starting February 15th for the Department of Human Services. Metro Health actually started conducting their negotiation meetings, I believe, as of this past Monday, which was only yesterday. It seems like it was already a long time ago. But that's kind of an overview of how the contract execution process will work. Now, the required documents. I showed you the checklist that we sent you. This slide is just kind of an overview of that. It's the statement of work, the total agency budget and program line item budget, and then you'll see there's a couple of others. I don't really care to read the slide verbatim, but one other thing I want to point out to you why we included this slide is because you will notice that some documents are required per program and other documents are in what I call an agency document. For example, if you are an agency that had 2 programs funded, you will have, let's say your 2 programs are funded with the Department of Human Services. You will have 1 contract executed with the Department of Human Services. For that contract, we will only need your audit 1 time because that applies to your agency as a whole. But the program line item budget is just that. It's specific to the program. So if you have 2 programs, you will have to submit a budget allocating the funding for both, 1 for each program. Right? The same for the intent to subcontract. Part of your contract with the city states that if you intend to subcontract any portion of your program that is, and we're talking about people doing the substantive part of the program, like anything tied to the scope of work, like maybe you're subcontracting to another agency who's going to provide the tutoring sessions if you're a school program. Then you would have to complete the intent to subcontract. Again, if you have 2 programs in your contract, you need to submit 1 per program. The cost allocation plan, that tends to be an agency document. Most of our agencies have a single cost allocation plan for their agency as a comprehensive whole. Same with the audited statements and the IRS. Certificate of liability insurance, that applies to your agency as a whole. So you'll notice both on this slide and in the checklist that we sent you in your contract packet that we've outlined each document that is a program document versus those that are just an agency document. Now, the one thing you'll notice in your contract packet that you've already received is that you're missing a few items. You do not have yet the contract itself, which is going to be called a professional services contract. You do not have the HIPAA agreement, which is for the protection of private information, and you do not yet have the scorecard. Those will be sent separately. Currently, our city attorney's office is working to draft up the contracts as well as the HIPAA agreements. As soon as they are made available to both departments, we will issue them to you. The scorecard will be issued to you upon completion of the negotiation meeting, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. One thing I would like to point out for everyone is, if we received your IRS 990 or your audit in your RFP proposal, our teams will go into those proposals, we will pull those documents out, and we will upload them into your dashboard. We do this as a convenience to our agencies because we don't want you to have to do extra work. If you gave it to us once already, we can pull it into your dashboard. What we will ask you to do is confirm for us that that is the most recent version. And our monitors and coordinators will walk you through that in more detail. So the negotiation meetings. Negotiation meetings for DHS will commence starting tomorrow. And the Metro Health programs, like I said, they started actually meeting with agencies as of yesterday. Now, how a negotiation meeting is scheduled is your monitor or coordinator is going to contact you via email for availability, and they're going to schedule a 1-hour meeting. These meetings will be conducted by WebEx because we do a lot of screen sharing that we find very conducive to the discussion. The negotiation meeting is focused. It's intended to review the performance measures that each of you submitted in your attachment F, the scorecard, in your RFP proposal. When you submitted your proposals and when they were evaluated, you proposed certain measures that would allow you to track how your program was performing and the outcomes, the impact they had to the population served. These negotiation meetings will be to create a scorecard similar to the image you see on the screen before you, where we are going to set targets. We're going to really define those measures. In other words, when we say unduplicated client served, what does that mean? When we say that it's the number enrolled in a program, well, that means you do need to have some type of enrollment form that you're keeping on your files that we can validate when we do your annual reviews. So the negotiation meetings are very engaging. They're very detailed because we're going to go through each of your performance measures and see what is the best way to document them, what is the best way to describe them, and maybe even determine if some of them are no longer applicable because maybe you did not get funded at the full amount. Now, these meetings are recorded, and we're going to provide a copy of the recording to you just for your records and reference. Most of us try to take extremely detailed notes during these meetings, but there will be so much discussion that we find recording them and giving a copy to the agency is just really, really helpful for everyone, especially if you bring on new staff mid-year, or for a lot of y'all are hiring new staff as part of this funding. They may not be a part of this, and you can share this recording with them so they have a better understanding of the performance measures that are tied to this contract. Now, after the negotiation meeting, the proposed scorecard is reviewed by both the DHS and Metro Health leadership. If the proposed scorecard is not approved, then DHS, the CMD team, that's what CMD stands for, our Contracts Management Division, or the Metro Health Contracts team will contact you because we'll need to schedule a meeting to renegotiate. If the proposed scorecard is approved, then we will issue you a final scorecard which will require your CEO's signature. That final signed scorecard must then be submitted via your Smartsheet dashboard. This is why you do not have a scorecard yet in your contract packets that y'all received last week. So one of the key things that we have to do is get you registered for Smartsheet access. I'm going to turn this over to our DHS Special Projects Manager, Katie Cunningham, who's going to walk you through how to get registered for Smartsheet access. Katie, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can share.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katie Cunningham, and we will go over how to register for Smartsheets. So the first step in the process is registering your point of contacts. We need to have a list of the people who need access to the dashboards, the people who will be doing the direct work and will be uploading the documents and submitting them to DHS and to Metro Health. So the first step is to complete the form that was sent to you via email last week. There was a POC or point of contact form that was sent to you. You will be able to select up to 2 points of contacts for each section. One form must be submitted for each program your agency was awarded or was funded for, and you have to enter the master ID for those specific programs. The performance POC is the person who has access to the performance POC Smartsheet dashboard. This allows the individual to submit documents required by the contract, submit monthly performance reports, view invoices submitted to date, and submit performance success plans if required. The fiscal POC has access to the fiscal POC Smartsheet dashboard online and allows them to submit documents required by the contract and to submit the invoices and budget adjustments. You can also view the performance data. The fiscal POC is the only person allowed to upload the invoices into our system. Executive POC is the person who will have a view access to many of the areas of our dashboards. The Executive POC Smartsheet dashboard allows that individual to submit the documents required for the contract, and you can view all aspects of the contract monitoring process, such as performance invoices, the performance success plans, and other items in that dashboard. So for new users, if you don't currently have a Smartsheet login, if you haven't registered with Smartsheet yet, you'll go to smartsheet.com and click login. When you click login, there'll be a pop-up that comes open, and you're going to go to the bottom where it says don't have a login, sign up. You're going to enter your email and click continue. This should be the email address that you submitted in your funding letter, the survey response for one of the following. So the POC form that you submit, this should be the same email that you submitted in that POC form. We'll need one for your agency executive director, the program performance POC, and your fiscal finance POC. These email addresses should not be a Gmail address or a personal email address. These should be the email address associated with your agency. If you're an agency that doesn't have email addresses that are like bobsmith@agency.com, then your contract coordinator or contract monitor will reach out to you to confirm that that is the email that you wish to use. Once you've created your account, you'll receive an email with a subject titled Smartsheet Confirmation Code. This will let you complete the enrollment. It's a very long code. I recommend copying and pasting it into Smartsheet. You'll be able to confirm your registration and complete registration after you've received that email. After you're registered, when you log in, it'll take you to a home screen that looks similar to this. It operates like a dashboard. So you're going to click the folder on the left-hand side, and you'll see the dashboard that is associated with your level as a point of contact. So if you're the executive POC, you will see the 23 through 25 ARPA executive dashboard. If you're the fiscal representative POC, then you'll see the 23 through 25 ARPA finance dashboard. And same for performance, you'll only see performance. If you are the POC for multiple areas, you will see multiple dashboards. If you're an existing program, then you may see your dashboards from your consolidated funding. Did that, Natalie?
Thank you, Katie. And so for a lot of y'all who are working with the Department of Human Services, you will engage a lot with Katie Cunningham. She's our Special Projects Manager. So you'll get to know her very well. We're going to now give you an overview of the Smartsheet dashboard, and I'm going to pull it up so that you can see what it looks like. Once you're registered, we essentially have 3 dashboards that become available. And you can see here can y'all see it on your screen? Okay, what you have available before you is the first one. Like Katie said, we have 3 dashboards that are available to our users. We have a performance dashboard, a finance, and an executive. Each person or each dashboard can have up to 2 users with access. One thing I want to make very clear is the access that are given to 2 people on the same dashboard are exactly the same. There is no way for us to distinguish that. So if, for example, on the finance dashboard, you have your CFO and an accountant on there, they will be able to do the exact same thing on that dashboard. Same with performance and same with the executive. You'll notice in our dashboards, one of the things that we are trying to do is give you useful information. We actually implemented this system in fiscal year 22 as part of a project that started back in 2020 that we worked on in fiscal year 21 to make communicating with agencies much more easier. We wanted to give you a tool that you could see both what documents you've submitted to us, have they been approved, as well as a resource for information. And that's what you see having developed before you. If you were previously a consolidated funding agency, you're aware that the dashboards continue to evolve. Our departments work really hard to be innovative and to continually find improvements to make monitoring contracts successful and more efficient. What you see before you is our current iteration of the dashboard. We have on here calendar reminders. For ARPA funding, there are a couple of things I want to point out. One, your performance reporting, your performance monitoring reports are due quarterly. That means they'll be due on the 20th of the month after the first 3 months of your contract. Same with the quarterly advance payment request, which is for DHS contracts only, as well as the quarterly finance packages. You will see these reminders in this section to the left of your dashboard. We also include some additional reminders in there. We do distinguish, be aware that we have different types of ARPA contracts. We have some that are specific to immigration services, and then pretty much the pot of everyone else who falls just under regular ARPA. We do provide an overview to give you a brief explanation on each section. And then you'll see, this is the one we really want to focus on today, the document submission section. The intent of the dashboard is so that in this section, it's for you to be able to see all documents that are required from you. This dashboard gives you flexibility. You'll notice that with a single click, I was able to create wrap text or not wrap text. You can allow formatting or take it off. You can filter. Y'all can come in here and you can actually select a field. For example, if you only want to see documents that have not been approved, that are currently under review, you can apply that filter and your dashboard will update for you. In addition to those features, one of the key things for why we built the document submission tracker is for you to be able to upload and share your documents with us versus sending us multiple emails and trying to send them to us and us trying to track them to figure out what we received. This list, right now you're seeing a test agency, but this list will be specific to your program. If you have multiple programs that are funded, you will see two different names, and you can kind of see an example of this. Let me see, I think I only show the one on here. It does only show the one. But what it would show is you would basically have program number, program A, and then you have a row for program B. The way that the document submission tracker works is that each document that you are required to submit has its own row. So for example, we talked about how everyone must submit a program line item budget per program. That's why you'll come into your document submission section and you'll see that it will show your agency name, the program name, that way you can distinguish if you have two different programs. Then it's going to tell you the due date as well as the document name. So for example, this one says the program line item budget. Depending on the funding source, we may actually have more detail right here. In this test one, we just have a template form. It's going to tell you when you're ready to submit. There's a column here for you to talk to us about it. If you have comments that you want us to look at when we look at this document, there's a field for that. There's also a field for us to give you comments back. If we look at a document and say we reject it because something is missing, your monitors are going to put that message in the column titled DHS Comments to Agency. We have a column titled Review Status. When this particular document, so specific to this row, makes it through the full workflow approval on our side, because it does take multiple levels of review. For example, a budget will be reviewed by, I'm sorry if am I breaking up a lot? Are you able to hear me okay? Okay. Sorry, someone sent me a message saying I was breaking up, and I apologize if I am. Again, we will have an afternoon session, so if anybody is unable to hear, we'll record the afternoon session as well. I'm a little old school, and I like to use wired headphones still. In regards to the document review status, what that is for is, for example, like a program line item budget, that will require multiple reviews within our departments. It will first be reviewed by your contract monitors, their supervisors, and then our fiscal team will review it. So that review status will not change to approved until all levels in our approval workflow have actually approved it. That's why we have that there. We want you to know when a document has been fully approved. And then, of course, we also will automatically timestamp when you upload the document. One of the reasons why we created this was, again, so agencies would never feel like they could not recall what documents they submitted, or for us internally. If we suddenly looked at this and said, wait a minute, did we get that document? We have a tracking system that does it. To submit a document, it is extremely easy. You will come to, let's get one that's not submitted. For example, say if you're submitting the HIPAA attachment. So that one is not currently in your contract packet. So in this scenario, your monitor would have sent that to you after that first contract packet once we get the HIPAA template from our city attorney. Your CEO is going to read over that. They're going to sign it. Once they sign it, y'all will come into your document submission and you're going to click on this row. It's going to bring up a side panel on the right side. And sometimes you'll see smart sheets because it's cloud-based will take a little bit just to refresh. This will tell you all of the information on that same row. So there's two tabs. There's a data tab and an attachments tab. We always have displayed your agency name. If you ever should see an agency name that does not match yours, please let us know. Let your monitor or coordinator know. That probably means something's wrong with the system. Same with a program name. Just like everyone else, we're prone to human error. So if we've messed something up, please be our second set of eyes and let us know, hey, that's not my program. It will display the document name. So you'll see here under document name, it states COSA HIPAA BAA. Here it says the same thing. These grayed out areas mean you do not have to enter anything. It is simply letting you know this is the document that you're submitting. It correlates to the row so you know you're on the right row. Because if you were to click on another row, you're going to see that the details panel will update and show for that row. Okay? It will show the due date. Again, that's grayed out. We will be updating those due dates to reflect February 24th. The only one that may not be due on the 24th is the contract in HIPAA. If we do not get that to you in time, we are reasonable with those timelines. We'll update that due date and push it back some so that your legal team as well as your CEO and leaders have time to review that. Now there's a section here where it says agency comments to DHS. You'll see we've got some explanation notes here. This field should be used for any comments or questions that you have related to the document. We'll review those. So for example, let's say we're uploading the contract here, but you had a concern about it. If you were unsure, or let me go back to the HIPAA since that one's not submitted, you could actually just put a note in there that could say, you know, maybe your CEO was not available, so the CFO signed in lieu of. Whatever you put there, that goes to your monitor and coordinator, and when they review this, they're going to take a look at that. The DHS comments to agencies will actually display any comments or questions from us to you. This really comes into play in two scenarios. One, if we reject a document. If we reject the document, our team is going to put in that comment field why. And so you would see that on our end, and when it appears, it'll still show grayed out, but it'll have the wording in here. And it could say something such as, y'all, it's missing a signature on page 2. That's how we'll communicate that to you. When you're ready to submit the document, you're going to come to this last field that says Ready Submit. Once you've attached the document, you're going to select Submit. Now, you can attach it after you hit Submit. I want to be clear on that. If you want to attach it before you fill this part out on the Data tab, or if you want to attach it afterwards, it does not matter to us for the document submission. We will still get them. So you could come in here, and you're going to see, always remember that there's several scroll bars. So if you can't see something, all you have to do is click on the scroll bar here. And I think I'm going to have to extend this one out. There's the Submit button. When you're ready to submit, you're going to come in here and you're going to click Save. The moment you do that, the system is going to notify us that we have a document for you ready to review. It's going to also track it here in the system. It starts the approval process. You can then come in here to attachments, and to upload an attachment, it's very easy. You're going to scroll down to the bottom. You're going to click Attach a File. You're going to get a dialog box that will pop up on your computer. You can upload everything from PDFs to Excel documents to JPEGs. There is a maximum size limit. We don't anticipate any of you will encounter that for documents you submit through the contract execution process. I want to say it's, I can't remember. I thought it was like 32. I'll have to think about that. So to upload a document, all you have to simply do is select the document. Let me go to Documents. And for example, if we wanted to pull up Oh, let me go to desktop. And let's just say it's a PDF document. All you do is click open. You're going to see that the system will show that, and then here it is. You can also view that document. If you click on it, even before or after you've submitted it, it will allow you to pull that document up, and you will see it. We see exactly what you upload. So once you attach that file, you have already hit submit. If you come into your dashboard now, you can see that it should show it right here. Here's the one we submitted. The document submission date shows today, Valentine's Day. It does not show an approval, and it will not show one until it is actually approved. That's how you submit a document. Now, keep in mind, throughout the course of the life cycle of your contract, if we require more documents, we will, one, use this system as much as we can to collect them, and two, we will always notify you if we add a new document. You will receive an automatic notification from Smartsheet saying, hey, you need to go into your dashboard, a new document is now required. If a document is rejected to you, you will receive a notification from Smartsheet that simply tells you, a document has been rejected, please log into your dashboard for additional information so that you can read the comments. And throughout any of this, you can always, and we encourage you to contact your coordinator or monitors if you have questions about what you're seeing here. Now, in future TA workshops, we'll go over the additional sections that right now for you will probably show as blank, but this dashboard will be used for everything for you, for your contract, from performance reporting to submitting your invoices and advance requests, even for links. If y'all need to see forms, you can come and click on a link here, and it's going to take you directly to our web page. Go back to our PowerPoint. These are all of the slides Katie went through. So with the dashboards, y'all have seen the demonstration. Keep in mind that they will reflect multiple sections. Additionally, throughout that contract life cycle, we will activate certain sections as we kind of guide you through the process. So those sections include responding to underperformance on targeted measures. As we review your data every quarter, if you are coming under target, then we may require you to submit a performance success plan, telling us how you plan on meeting that target by the following quarter. It's also a tool that we can turn on for you to respond to non-compliance issues if we note any in your annual program performance review. This will actually be our first year using that. We designed it year before last, but we weren't able to implement that last year. So we will have additional workshops to guide you through those steps every time we turn on a new section of your dashboard. As a reminder, the users have limited access to edit each section that is dependent on their defined system roles. So some users, you may be able to see a section, but you may not be able to submit or edit it. Here's a really good example. If you have a finance person who has access to the finance dashboard, it's going to look like this. Give me one moment. The design feature is very similar. It just says finance dashboard. The dashboard will allow your finance person to submit documents. It will allow them to submit invoices. We will add in a section here for them to be able to see performance, but your finance users will not have any ability to submit performance data. The same thing applies for your performance POCs. The person who has access to the performance dashboard will be able to see when invoices or the advance packet is submitted, but they will not be able to submit that on their end. The reason we give you the access to see it is because in order for us to process your advance request or anything tied to that, we first have to have performance. So the way that we help your teams communicate even with each other is by giving you access to see what the other person in your team is doing. We already did the document submission live demo. I apologize, I kind of jumped around there. I always get excited with the demos because I really like our system when I see where we used to be and how we continue to develop. I'm going to turn it back over to Katie, who's going to go over our partner resource webpage and then take us into the Q&A.
I'm back. So in DHS, we have a partner resource webpage that contains all of the videos and recordings of the trainings that we've done. So you'll go to sanantonio.gov/human services. Once you get to this webpage, you'll click on About, and there'll be a little pop-out, and you'll scroll down to the bottom of that pop-out that says Resources for Partners and Agencies. Once you get to that page, you'll click Workshops. This workshop tab will have all of the recordings of our trainings, including this one, and including the trainings and technical workshops that we've provided to our consolidated funding agencies. There is a guide on how to register with Smartsheets in the document submissions PowerPoint that is also on this website. If you need any assistance with access to the website or to Smartsheet or anything, you can reach out to your contact monitor. Future workshops, as Natalie mentioned previously, we will be having future workshops. Future workshops will cover the following subjects: performance reporting, advanced payment requests and quarterly reconciliation submissions, program performance reviews, program success plans, and contract administration plans. I know that might seem overwhelming, but we will go through this process step by step with you, and we will be here with you as you're learning it. Does anyone have any questions?
I would remind everybody, if you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself, and we'd like to open it up. There were a couple of questions that were asked in the chat that we'll go through. They were already answered by our team. Oops, that's an email notification that's going off, sorry.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I had to step away from my desk for a few minutes, so I missed the part about setting up our account for the dashboard. Will you be emailing us login info, or is that something we create on our own?
So what you'll do is, did you receive the email with the POC form?
Yes, I filled that out yesterday.
Perfect. So once you've filled out your POC form, what you and the other people who are assigned as POCs will need to do is register yourself in Smartsheet. We don't create your passwords or anything like that. You'll need to register yourself. And then once you're registered, when we assign access to those 3 different dashboards, you should be able to log in and see those dashboards on your account.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So one of the questions that was asked in the chat was whether or not the required documents would need to be set up by the agency, or if they'd be set up by the departments. The departments will set that up for you. They may not show right now because we're still setting up those. I apologize. Let me turn this off for just a moment. We will actually be setting up your document submission sections by the end of this week, so that you can start uploading and submitting documents. If you do not see your sections available to you with a specific list of documents that are required from you by Friday, please reach out to your monitor. But we will set that up for you. You do not have to set anything up. You'll simply be using it to submit. It's our responsibility to tell you what documents we need by listing it in there. Someone else in the chat asked about that they registered with Smartsheets, and Smartsheets tells you that you have so many days until your free license expires. Just so you know, you are not required to purchase anything with Smartsheets. You are able to register and to continue to use the free license for what we have you use it for. None of you should feel, if you get an email from Smartsheets, it's probably just an advertising. You can sign up and use it as a free user to access our system. If you haven't received a packet from the Department of Human Services for your contract, please reach out to your monitor, to your agency. If you do not know who your monitor is, you can email me. But Nadia, I see your message, so that's notification enough. I'll talk to your monitor to find out when that packet went out.
Thank you.
Now, if I can use Nadia's agency as an example, keep in mind that some of you may have a program that was funded under the Department of Human Services, and you may also have a program that was funded under the Department of Metro Health. Keep in mind that for that, you will be executing 2 separate contracts. Now, what our departments are doing, why we're working so closely together, is because we are going to do our best to limit the amount of duplicate documents you have to submit. So if we have your agency from one department, then, I'm sorry, your agency. If we have your audit from an agency and you have a contract with each department, we're going to share the audit with each other. If you're 990, those agency documents, those we can share with each other. The documents that are specific to your programs, such as the program line item budget, the scorecard, even the contracts themselves, because each department has to execute its own contract, those will be different. So you may have more questions with that. You'll also have 2 different monitors, one from each department. Just be aware of that.
Natalie, on that point, in our dashboard then, like, will we just, for the items or the documents that will be separate, will we just see those duplicated as opposed to, like, I'm seeing BP agency form 990, you're saying that would be shared, but for, you know, COSA scorecard signed by agency, I would see 2 separate rows, one for each contract. Is that right?
Correct. So you would see under the program column, the column that's titled program, for the document name that's a scorecard, you're going to see 2. You're going to see one program from DHS and one program from Metro Health. And then the document name is still the same thing. They're still going to be called scorecard. Where you're going to distinguish, Nadia, is in the program column. That's where you know if you're sending a scorecard for that program. For the audit, now this is the first time 2 departments are trying to share the same system. Ashley and I are still trying to work out exactly how we're going to tie the audit together. So bear with us if you see for a brief moment, like, hey, wait a minute, it looks like I've got 2 rows for 2 audits, because we're trying to work out the computer design on our end of how we can put those together. But yes, you will not have to submit them both. We will actually be sharing your audits, your 990s.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So Katie just pointed out to me, one thing I do, following up on the same thing, especially for those who have multiple programs, keep in mind that the audit or the 990, those agency documents we're talking about, you may see, because we have to associate a program name, you may see that audit tied to one program name, but we're going to use it for both programs. Just be aware of that. So like sometimes we have program A and program B with an agency. The audit may only show under program A, but that's because we don't need you to resubmit it for program B. These are really good questions. We're at the conclusion of our workshop today. Our teams are going to stay on the call. If anybody should have any additional questions and would like to ask them, we'll stay on the call for at least another 5 to 10 minutes here. If you have questions that come up later, you're free to attend this afternoon session. We'll have a second session this afternoon where we're going to go over this exact same information and the exact same demo. If you have questions after today, please just reach out to your monitor. If you do not know who your monitor is, I'm going to post an email in the chat right now, but you can send an email at any time to dhscontractsreports@sanantonio.gov. If ever you're unsure of who your monitor is, who you're supposed to be talking to, that's our general inbox. We have someone monitor that every day. They can put you in touch with the right person. Ashley, was there anything specific to the Metro Health contracts you wanted to mention at this time?
I actually just put it in the chat. So if you are funded by Metro Health and you are not sure who your monitor is, you can also reach out to the Metro Health contracts at sanantonio.gov email, and we will get you in contact with the correct person. Otherwise, I don't have anything else.
Well, I thank you for everyone who's joined us today. Feel free to log off if you're ready to go. Again, our teams will stay on for at least another 5 or 10 minutes to see if anybody has any additional questions. Thank you and have a good day.
Hello. So what do you need? You want me to send it to you or something? This is Benny Price.
Yes, sir.
With our Metro Health our package that they sent us, when I forwarded it, my team wasn't able to open it up, so they sent them the package straight to their emails. Um, is that possible with DHS so they can have it to open up? Because they wasn't opening it up when I forwarded it to them.
We can, if we need to send it to a different person, as long as you, like Benny, if you would email your monitor, whoever sent it to you, and tell them, can you forward this, especially if it's not, because of really our protective, how do I put it, our responsibility to protect the information we share about our agencies. We always want to guard y'all's privacy very well. As long as you send us an email and tell us who you want it to us to send it to, we can do so. But we would just need that from you. So if there are other emails you've registered with us, you can just reply back to the monitor and say, could you forward this packet, to whoever you have listed, and we'll forward it to them. We're happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Natalie, I think one of the other issues was that we sent a zip file, and I think there was an error or something in the zip file. So to offer some background, so I think I'll ask, well, if Lourdes is on the line, she can correct me, but I think we had to send each document in, unzipped, for lack of a better way of putting it, so that way it worked on their end.
No, that's good to know. Let me take a look at who has, for DHS, who's assigned to yours, Benny, and we'll confirm how we sent it to you.
Thank you.
This is Nadia Mavrakis with Culturingo. I have a question. Ashley Stubing sent me the HIPAA attachment, and she said this is the template. We are pending your agency's specific business associate agreement, and we'll share this as soon as it's available. So just to clarify, is that what you were referring to earlier, Natalie, when you said that that the HIPAA agreement is not finalized and that it's pending and you guys are still working on it, and then we'll share? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, hi, Ashley. Okay. I was trying to look at all the windows to see like who was on.
You're good.
Okay. So basically that's just an example, but we'll get the finalized version soon.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
So the HIPAA will actually state, when you get it, Nadia, it's going to be personalized to your agency on the top paragraph and actually state the name, but they have to be reviewed and come from our city attorney. We do, like Ashley sent you, we like to provide the template sometimes just so you can kind of have an idea of what's coming.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So Benny, I've reached out to your contract coordinator and we will resend those documents to you in an unzipped file. Nadia, we just spoke with your contract coordinator and she said that she sent it twice, but we're going to go ahead and verify those email addresses because sometimes it can be one letter off or a flip and it doesn't go through. So we will double check that and we will get that out to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. We'll get ready to close this up in about 3 minutes. But again, anybody else who has a question, feel free to ask it. Otherwise, for those who want to join us this afternoon, just because you really enjoyed hanging out with us, we'll see you at 2 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.